All right, now for, I think, the coolest trick that you could possibly learn with AI. That is what we call meta prompting. So essentially getting AI to help you use AI. Now I'll take you to Prompt Cowboy. And when we did the job description here, we were essentially doing meta prompting, where the AI is figuring out how to write a better prompt. It's trying to think what is the missing context you have, and it's coming up with some questions that you can answer to improve the prompt. And so this is a very, very powerful technique, which we've built some really powerful things in the back end here to give a really magical experience. But you can also use different types of meta prompting techniques in ChatGPT yourself. So you can go out on the internet and you can look up meta prompting, and there's so many different techniques that people have started to share online over the years. And it's a lot of fun because it really can take your game to the next level and help you to actually learn how to use AI better. So one of the use cases where you can use meta prompting is when you're troubleshooting. So let's say, you've been in a chat thread for half an hour. You've been going back and forth with AI, trying to get it to do what you want, and it's just not working. You're screaming at it. It's a very, very common experience. What you can do is you could add your prompt in, get the response, and then ask the AI to analyze your original prompt and say, why am I getting this result? Please read through the prompt and figure out what I need to change to get the specific result that I want, and then clearly describe what specific result that you want. And you'll find that the AI will be able to read through that prompt, it'll look at its response, and it'll think, hey, actually, why don't you try this to see if this works? And I recommend this is a lot of fun doing this. I spend hours every week going back and forth like this with AI. And another really excellent meta prompting technique that I always use is what we call pattern extraction. So AI is incredible when you give it references. So let's say that you find an incredible advertisement online or an incredible blog online or a YouTube video. But in this case, let's think of a great ad that you see. It's a video ad. You can download the video, you could put it into ChatGPT, and you could ask ChatGPT, why did this ad perform so well? Why was it successful? And then what will happen is it will break down the principles of why it thinks this ad performed well. And you can then use those same principles and apply it to a new advertising concept. And so this is really cool because you can take a lot of the other great work that's online, you can repurpose it and make it your own. Now, another cool trick that I like to use is when I have quite a complex task, I'm not sure if I've described what I want to the AI in the right way. And so what I'll do is I'll write a prompt, and before sending the message, I'll add a little instruction at the end, and I'll say, can you please just explain in your own words what you think I'm asking you to do? Don't actually do the task, just explain in your own words what you think I'm asking you to do. And what will happen is it'll give you a response, and you can read through it and you can start to see whether there are any gaps in what you envisage in your head and what you've actually written in the prompt, because you can see where the AI kind of maybe goes one way versus the other way, where it's kind of missing details when it should have more. And then you can use the iterative prompting technique to update the additional prompt and then rerun that again until you get to the point where the AI is actually clearly understanding what you imagine you want it to do in your head. And then the final one we'll leave you here with today is using AI as a collaborative thought partner to solve problems. So let's say you're doing strategy development. You really don't know what the best approach to solve the problem is, or maybe you do, but you want to bounce around with AI. And so you ask it, what's the best approach to solve this problem using AI? And it'll give you some interesting takes. It'll give you some interesting pathways you can take. And so you can see from just these few examples, if you try them, it'll really level up your game because you'll be able to understand more about, where your instructions are falling short. You'll be able to understand how these large language model systems work. And it's a lot of fun because you can kind of be a bit lazy. You could write a very lazy description of what you want, check if the AI understands it. And if it doesn't, say, okay, I've got to put a bit more effort in. But it's a lot of fun, and I definitely recommend diving deep into figuring out how can you actually use AI to help you use AI. I know it's very meta, but it's a lot of fun. So I hope that you've learned a few useful prompting techniques. I think if you spend some time trying to apply these and you just, use ChatGPT more, it really is a process of trial and error to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And that's why we created Prompt Cowboy, is to try and make it easier so you didn't have to go out and learn a lot of the boring stuff. You can just get better results while being lazy. So definitely check it out. But I really thank you for your time. And it's been a lot of fun being able to share what we've learned with you.